I'm so excited because the internet is going to break with as many comments as y'all said about people selling water. They just keep selling waters. The developments are draining Canyon Lake. Guess what?
There is no new water being contracted or sold out of Canyon Lake.
Welcome to Dock Talk on this awesome Malibu M242.
Correct? M242, that is correct, the Alpha.
That's awesome, that's awesome. This is a huge boat.
It's huge.
But by the way, we are on Canyon Lake. Yes, there's still a lake here. We have posted a video and got probably, 250,000 views? And there is a lot of misconceptions out there and a lot of angry people we find out when you read the comments. But there was a meeting in Canyon Lake. Not many people were able to attend. There was only 100 people allowed.
They filled it up.
We had GBRA there, Texas Water Company was there, and Corps of Engineers were there. So these were all the professionals in the business that control Canyon Lake. So all of this stuff is factual information coming from them. So
yeah, but they did clarify a lot of misconceptions, and it was an 1.5 hour long video. We are here to pick out the points that everybody wants to know about. So first off, everybody's always wondering, why is Canyon Lake so low? Well, let's start out with what's causing the drop.
Yeah, it's drought.
And what's causing the lake level to drop? Well, one, we're in a drought. Whether it's 5 years or 7 years, the water's just not coming into the lake at the rate we need it.
It should be widely known, but maybe it's not. It just makes common sense. There are a couple different reasons why we're losing water here, but the fact of the matter is, last 5 or 7 years have just been atrocious. I think the intake into Canyon Lake right now is less than a fifth of what it normally is over a 5-year period.
The last 5 years, there's been 220,000 acre feet inflowing into Canyon Lake. The yearly inflow is 250,000 acre feet. So 1,250,000 acre feet is what was supposed to come in the last 5 years, and there's only been 220,000 acre feet. And we're 45% full.
We're sitting here at 100 feet deep right now, and you can see no other boats on the water because, again, the ramps are closed. Fortunate enough to get out here, but super resilient. Yeah, we're doing far better than a lot of the other lakes in Central Texas during this same period of drought.
I think the latest stat, they said 47 at the meeting, but I think it's like 45.5% capacity is where we are right now. So there's still a lot of water here.
One of the other big causes that causes us to lose water is evaporation.
At any given time, we could lose 25 to 60% of the water volume per day from evaporation. And that adds up to about 6 feet a year. Okay, so last year we dropped about 10 feet. You can say 6 feet of that was evaporation.
That's about 60% of water loss, which equates to about 6 feet a year. So
actually, Canyon Lake loses water into the aquifer. It seeps through the bed of the lake and goes into the aquifer. But there are also other uses, of course, water sold downriver to Texas Water Company.
That's a great point because it leads us into our next topic of common misconceptions. I'm so excited because the internet is going to break with as many comments as y'all said about people selling water. They just keep selling waters. The developments are draining Canyon Lake. Guess what?
There is no new water being contracted or sold out of Canyon Lake.
There is not more water that is coming out of the lake that is allocated to us. What we've been allocated is what we've been allocated.
Yes, they are not selling any more water and haven't done so in the last 20 years and don't plan on selling any more water.
They are actually denying applications for new development around Canyon Lake right now so they can serve the people that are here without stressing the supply out.
So you see a new development come up, they've got that water from somewhere else other than Canyon Lake.
So all we need is a flood, and it would fill this lake up.
Yeah, this lake is coming back. It's not a matter of if, it's when. It's happened before, it can happen again. If you don't believe me, listen to the expert.
You don't need hope. It's going to happen. Mother Nature will turn around, and the drought will be over, and it will rain, and we can fill the lake up pretty quick. So when you hear people saying the lake's over, it's dead, it's gone, it'll never fill back up, there's evidence that it took less than a year to fill up from the current level we're at right now.
I think what people need to understand is that we are in a drought, 5 to 7 years, and he called it an extraordinary drought, that little kidney bean.
Yeah, show the kidney bean.
It's setting right over Kerrville area where the Guadalupe fills up.
When you talk about a drought for Canyon Lake, you don't talk about the water that actually falls on the reservoir. That is not what fills the lake. It's the water that falls on the watershed above the lake where you catch it and you have runoff, and then the river flows to the reservoir where you actually fill the reservoir after you've had dry time. So no other way to say it. This kidney bean right here could not be in a worse place for all of us right here in this community.
So at any given time, we could have a flood event, a water event that could fill this lake up.
How many remember 2002? Right here in the yellow line.
I may have only been 2 years old when this happened, but back in 2002, we had enough water come into Canyon Lake to fill it twice.
That event filled the lake up itself twice during that period of time.
I know it sounds extraordinary to think you could fill a lake up by 32 feet overnight or within a week or within 2 weeks, but it's happened before, as Frank's mentioned. We've had several of these types of floods. We can't tell you if it's going to be next week or next year or another 3 years from now, but again, on average, it's 10 years, as the guys are saying here. So
I was here in 2002, and I actually saw it fill up, go over the spillway, and it was an extraordinary thing to see.
July 4th, 2002, the flood that changed everything.
It was scary, but Jake was 2 years old.
It happened in my lifetime. At least I can say that.
But yeah, no, 2002, 2004, 2010. We even had a 2015 high water event. It wasn't considered a flood, but again, I mean, these events do happen, and that's why this lake was built, is for flood control and for water. But again, they fully allocated it, and we're just ready for this lake to fill back up. But look, we are in the middle of Canyon Lake, and where we're sitting, this body of water has probably lost, what, 60, 70 feet? It's basically the same usage as when it's full pool where we're sitting right now.
Well, and that's it. I think it was the GBRA guy said,
I propose to you that Canyon Lake is doing its job exactly as it was designed.
Canyon Lake is doing what it was designed to do. And it handles flood control, which is not an event we're in right now, but it's supplying water to all the areas and homes that are around us and businesses. I mean, we could be Medina Lake. Fortunately, we have water. They don't have any.
one of the big differences I always tell people about out here is this lake is just different than a Lake Travis, which I know you grew up on, where there are a lot more really deep coves. Canyon Lake, you have a couple little fingers here and there, but by and large, it's just a big body of water with a couple coves. But if you're on the south side of the lake, I just sold the house kind of right behind us, and sitting on that back porch, you would almost never be able to tell that we were in a drought. There's still a ton of usable lake out here right now.
When you look at the last 3 out of 5 years even, we've seen historic lows for water inflow coming into Canyon Lake, including 2023 being the second worst year in history for water coming in on average. So, I mean, we're just not seeing that water come in right now, but we know it'll come back.
I think they said like 134 days of no water coming into the lake.
That was in 2023, yeah.
23, and then 24, it was like 80 or something, I think is what he said, but no flow coming in.
3 of the last 5 years have set records and are in the top 10 for the lowest inflow to Canyon Lake ever, with 2023 being second only to 1956, which was the worst year of the drought record.
Practically a private lake, people.
It
Come
is.
on.
It really does feel like a private lake. I mean, we were just talking about, we have never been on Canyon Lake by ourselves, and this is absolutely fantastic. I'm about to put my wakeboard on. It is that nice.
Cut to it.
Broke the board!
Wow.
Oh, you did? Oh my gosh.
Second ride, old man still got it.
The lake is fully boatable, fully enjoyable, whether you want a sailboat, whether you want a Malibu, which is what we recommend. In addition,
If you rent a boat slip, Boat Ramp 19 is open to people who are renting boat slips.
there's definitely access to this lake. The boat club's there, so you can rent boats before you want to purchase, but the fact that the ramps are closed doesn't mean the lake is closed. This lake is doing what it was designed to do and still able to be enjoyed.
It's still my favorite lake. The water, Caribbean emerald green, is just gorgeous. You can't beat it. And currently we're in stage 4 water restrictions, which means they're 15% cut to wholesalers that are distributing.
Wait a minute. So you're saying they're reducing how much water they're pulling out of the lake?
Which they're allowed to use and sell.
Yeah. Did you hear that? Let's hear the expert.
We're in stage 4 for our canyon wholesalers, which means it's an automatic 15% reduction off the contracted amount, and that's mandatory.
Another common misconception is you're seeing people extending the pipes into the water. They're thinking that they're pulling more water out. That is the Texas Water Company extending their straws because the water level's down. It's not pulling additional water, it's pulling out what they are already allocated.
So there's no new development. They're not selling it to other people. They were restricting the water usage.
They're gonna restrict it even further, if I believe.
Correct.
Roll that beautiful bean footage.
Should mention, we do have more severe stages that we can go into as time goes on if the reservoir continues to drop, and our board will take that action when the time is right.
So they did talk about planning for the future. The main point that everybody made is that doesn't include pulling more water out of Canyon Lake. So if you see these new developments, they're even talking about a pipeline down from the coast for converting brackish water to drinkable water.
I think the Carrizo Aquifer, they were talking about getting water from that area and pumping it here. You know, I was in East Texas last weekend and they got more water than they could ever use. Well, start piping that stuff this direction.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's in the plan, but.
Well, it's a good positive move just to hear about the initiatives that they're actually looking into these things. I mean, what we don't understand on our level is we look at the lake levels on a 6-month or a month-to-month basis, and they do their planning on 10, 15, 20, 50 years. So they're much longer term, and I'm not saying the lake won't be back in the next year, but it's good to hear that they're making plans for the future, and you know, that's good for the longevity of the lake and just the hill country in general.
The bottom line is Canyon Lake is doing what it's designed to do. We're in some of the worst droughts during this lake's existence, and it's still 45% full, completely boatable. This lake will be full again. It's not a matter of if, it's when. And the last time again, this lake was at this level. It took less than a year to fill up. So praying for the rain, but in the meantime, we're gonna go play on the lake. See you on the water.